Hello and welcome to Rubber Duck Dev Show. I'm Chris.
And I'm Creston.
And I'm Lucian.
Yeah, and we are excited to have Lucian. Man, I'm trying really hard to get the pronunciation right, but I'm gonna mess it up.
That's
but
good.
It's I'm gonna slip back into the old English Lucian from time to time. But
works very well for me, yes.
But we've got him here to talk about short Ruby news and other cool goings on in the Ruby community. He's joining us all the way from Romania, which is really cool because I've never gotten a chance to meet somebody from Romania before. So I'm really excited about that because I love other cultures and talking to people about that stuff. We'll get into that in a little bit. But before we get going, we're going to do Week in Review. Creston, how was your week?
Super busy. So like the initial couple of weeks are over with coming back, and now I've got a whole bunch of consulting I'm doing and a whole bunch of requests coming in for my products. So just doing a bunch of work. Nothing really significant to mention, but I will say that I don't know if you can tell, but I actually have one fewer lights today. I actually have 4 lights, but I have one less today. The reason being is that, and I filmed this in my bedroom, and I have USB lights and they plug into a UPS. So there's a UPS that has USB ports on it. So that's how I give them power. And at 3 a.m. a few nights ago, suddenly it got super bright in my room. And one of these LED lights had just spontaneously turned on. I was like, oh, got out of bed and I yank it out of the UPS. And it goes dark. So I'm thinking, okay, problem solved. Then at 5 a.m., it turns on again. I'm like, what is going on? So I yank the other one.
Oh, no.
Well, deal with it at all until 5 minutes before the show. I'm like, okay, okay, plug in my lights, turn them all on, and one of them is just busted. So apparently was a short or something in it. But that's a little story what happened to me this week that I got to deal with somehow. Anyway, what about you?
I think that's the best story of the week. I'm not sure how I follow that. I've actually had a good busy week too. I've got a lot of different things going on. So at work, I'm finally getting a chance to kind of play with GraphQL. I've never had an opportunity to really play with it before. So I've been playing with GraphQL a lot and learning a lot about the do's and don'ts of it and how you set it up. And it solved a massive speed problem for us because one of our internal services talking to one of our other internal services, it was making some REST calls, and one of the REST calls was taking like 20 seconds because the REST call was pulling back all the data from the database, all the fields. So I set up a little proof of concept with GraphQL, and it ended up pulling all what they needed back in 1 second rather than 20 seconds. So we're like, yeah, we probably need to investigate some GraphQL here. So I've gotten a chance to learn that. And then, still having a lot of fun with the Ruby game programming with Dragon Ruby on Tuesdays. That's just gotten to be a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying that. So I've been spending a lot of time, my extra time kind of reading about game programming and theories of game programming and how you design and how you do these different things. And I'm excited to see how far I can kind of push Ruby in that kind of sphere, because Ruby isn't really built for that kind of thing, but I think it's getting to the point where it's probably reasonable to do, at least like 2D type games. The heavy AAA 3D stuff's probably a little much, but yeah, the little 2D things, it seems to be going well. Of course, we're just getting started. But yeah, lots of fun this week. So how about you, Lucian?
It's good. Nice to find out all the stories, like what you did. It's great. So I think I have 2 or 3 highlights of my week, let's say, and I will start with let's say a personal one. Like we had some days off because it was a national holiday on Tuesday, and I also took Monday off, and we had a longer weekend. And I played one of these days with my kid with the Scratch from MIT. It's like something for coding.
Mhm.
He's 5 years old, but not using devices, and I slowly give him a keyboard. Actually, to be honest, I let him type in IRB, in Ruby, in the beginning, just type numbers, plus, minus, small things. He also typed very, very big strings, and he told me, look how big a number I wrote, or how many letters I put here. And it was great. And then we also try to play with Arduino or Raspberry Pi. Of course, it's a play together. I'm doing most of the stuff, but we did like a barrier, traffic lights, this kind of small things for his cars. And here there is also like a printed magazine that it's now at the 8th issue with robotics. They give you some small plastic things, batteries and so on, but they are pluggable. So it's not Arduino, it's more for kids that they can just fit in some places. And we were playing with that, doing some stuff, and then he discovered that it has this scratch from MIT. Also, at the end, it has some images with the cat from it's a cat there and some other stuff. And he said, I want to play with that. And I think we stayed a couple of hours on the computer, did a lot of stuff. He was very enthusiastic, and I really enjoyed that. And was
Nice.
also a bit of experience for me to try to step back as much as possible and not correct too much to let the joy be there.
Uh-huh.
And it was very good. I'm either playing myself, like I'm also playing with these things myself. It's
Yeah.
it's something together. And this I grabbed the license of Dragon Ruby with the intention that someday maybe I can also do something with him in this direction. I did not do anything. I have a license, but talking about Dragon Ruby, I have it. So I have it in my mind. Okay, we play with Scratch, and maybe he I don't know, in 1 year or when he will be ready or want to, we go there. So that is one that's a nice highlight. The second, it's like um, I in September last year I switched my jobs. I was mostly working the last years as a backend developer in Ruby with something with mostly Rails API or Sinatra. These are the main things. And I switched my job to like a senior Ruby developer, but now I'm working also with frontend. So I'm a bit I'm trying to learn as much as possible, relearn some stuff, and I choose a task that has a lot of, or at least for me, a lot of frontend. And I'm happy that I found a solution to a specific slider that should work in a particular way that somehow I cannot tell you exactly what I did, but I tried a lot of things to make it look nice, and with, of course, with the help of my colleagues, that they gave me feedback and feed forward about, okay, what works, what does not work. But I'm pretty happy that specifically I said to that task, I want to take this because I'm not that big on the front end, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to learn more. Yeah, and I'm pretty happy about this. And the third one is short Ruby. I know that we will talk about this, but my highlight is that I launched some paid subscriptions or sponsorship that I'm playing with. And I was keep postponing this and thinking, okay, how to do it, and should I do it or not? And I even have some drafts articles where I explored different things about what can be possible. And in the end, I said, okay, let's just put it there and see. And oh my God, there are 5 people who choose to pay. It's for me, it's amazing. Like, oh my God, 5 people really choose to. And it's like a sponsorship. I wrote there, I don't give you anything special. It's like I just it's like a support for the newsletter. And 5 people, for me, I mean, maybe for other products it's very small, but for me it's so amazing that these 5 people, I want to take them. They just choose to pay. I don't know. I'm amazed by this in a way.
Yeah, it does
Um,
feel good
yeah,
when people kind of validate your work like that and say, I'm willing to put some of my
yeah,
money into your work because I think it's valuable. Yeah, that's extremely uplifting. And it's
Yeah,
a good feeling.
and
So
yeah, it's a good feeling for me, but I think also it's a nice gesture from their part.
yes.
It's like they chose to do this, and it's a very nice gesture. So the stage should be, or the light on them.
Yeah. So
How to say that?
so that's a good segue into kind of the meat of today. We're going to talk about short Ruby news and kind of where it came from, where it's going, what the thinking is. Before we get into that, I'm going to do a little shameless plug. We have Rubber Duck Dev Show has some merch now. So I've put the links over there. I don't know why anybody would want to buy this schlock, but I had people asking me Tuesday on stream on the chat if I had any merch, so I put some together. So there you go. I'm probably going to get some because I want some of my own merch, but it is what it is. Hey chat, Marco, how you doing? Oh, Marco also learned coding with Scratch. So there you go. So chat's right with you.
Yeah, super. Yes, it's a nice play. Actually, can do. I found out. I did not know too much about this, and I found out that people are doing some small games because you can put like keys from the keyboard, and you can move some of these characters. And I'm in the beginning also myself very amazed about the interface and how it looks like, and how it is like teaching kids programming in a very visual way. I found it amazing.
Yeah. And I think it's because I've looked at it before, just because I was curious how they were doing, and they've done a very good job of really targeting that at younger minds, to understand kind of the basics of how programming logic works. Without getting into the syntax of this is a loop and this is a, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
yes.
yeah, I think it's a fantastic thing. All right, so let's take a look real quick at Short Ruby newsletter. So there it is. You guys can go to newsletter.shortruby.com, and you initially get presented with a, hey, put your email address in here and we'll deliver it to you. I highly recommend that because I get it in my email and look at it as soon as it comes in. But there are lots of, and you've done what, 25, I want to say episodes. That's what I do. 25 editions of episodes just stuck in my head. But anyway, you've been doing this for a little while. And when you first started this, I was really interested in this because your newsletter, and there's a lot of good newsletters out there, but yours really spoke to me because it works like my brain works. It's very short, to the point, get in there, scan through the stuff and get out and get on to other things. So why, with all the other newsletters out there, and there's really good Ruby newsletters out there, why did you decide to kind of put this thing out in the ether?
Yeah, so it's in a way the story is like this. I was on Twitter. I don't want to link it on Twitter, but this is how it started, and I think maybe it's interesting. This is the story. I was on Twitter, I don't know, in 2009 or something like this, and then after a while I got off. I don't know. The account was there, but did not use it. And then it was the pandemic, and then I don't know. I started going there, but it was some things that I was not recognizing or did not like, or I don't know, all the accounts sharing a lot of not useful content. And I started to unfollow some people, and then I was thinking, what if I'm searching online and see if there are people that I could follow and to learn from. And of course, I'm interested in Ruby, so I search Ruby, like Ruby contributors, or I don't know, people tweeting about Ruby. So I started, and I did a list because I wanted to see them in a chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
And I was following, actually, I'm following also now only that list specifically I read in most of the time. It was nice. And I also noticed that people are sharing, not only on Twitter, this is just an example, but Reddit and in some other places, bits and pieces of very useful information. Some of that information was, I don't know, a reminder about a method that I was not using, but look how, like, it's a reminder, I can use it. Or someone was playing nice, or also this type of screenshots of code that you, okay, maybe you don't put it in production, but they look nice, or they challenge you a bit to think about, okay, why does this work and how? And basically the thing was that, okay, I was reading this, but also this type of information, or at least for me, it's ephemeral in a way, or it disappears. I have an, oh, that's nice, and then totally forget about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, okay, I want, and also I cannot stay always, I was not staying always, and also now, all the time, every day online in these all places. LinkedIn also, it has some groups and so on. So what I did is I was quickly bookmarking, or I don't know, liking, to have it in my likes, using my likes as a queue. And then in the weekend, pouring myself a coffee early in the morning. I like this. I wake up usually at 5 a.m. and I like to drink a good coffee and read these things. And then I start, like, I was thinking, okay, I want to organize them, to save them in some place, what I read. So I basically started doing it myself in Obsidian, or in tools like this. I used something else before, Zettel. It was an open source, another one very similar with Obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, okay, what if, like, I have this flow of what is happening during a week, that for me, it speaks more about what's new, or what happened in Ruby. Like, I want to capture a bit the liveliness of the information, or how to say the what happened.
Yeah.
I can put it in some words. So I said, okay, maybe I will do a newsletter, or put it online. And I have a group of Ruby friends here that I'm talking about, and they are very supportive. And I was thinking, okay, should I put it? Does anyone read it or not? And a friend asked me, how many subscribers do you want to have to keep putting it? I don't remember exactly what I said, 10 or 15 or something. And in the beginning it was very small, but also was growing very fast. And I was amazed. I don't know, I even have the tweets when I said, I don't know, 50 or 100, and I was like, oh my God, there are 100 people that just want to read this thing. It was for me a bit strange, you know. And basically this is about why, and why I put it online. The format, it's mostly trying to capture what people from the community are sharing, that seems interesting, with a focus on code.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of newsletters which I think they are great in curating the most important thing, let's say, that appears in that week. And I'm subscribed to all of them, and
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy all of them. But for me, I don't want to do the same thing, because I think they are doing it better and they have more experience. For me, I want to focus as lot as possible on code, or on things that people are saying that are a bit temporal, not atemporal. Like, okay, this is what happened this week. Of course, I added also some articles, because I read them and I want to put them there, or some videos that I try to curate as much as possible, like to add them there in a specific way. But that is the format. It's a replication of, okay, in the beginning I was trying to also put, like, if you read the newsletter, to read it from Monday to Sunday. Now, because I started to put a lot more Mastodon and in it, and also watching Reddit, and I'm trying to have a flow on YouTube with what is publishing, and also there is Twitch where some saves are. So there are multiple channels. It's very hard to compile it as time goes by in the week. So this is why after some editions, it's based on sections, but the first ones were actually like a timeline.
Mm-hmm.
For me. And also the second, there is the second thing for me why this format is that in these places like social media, let's call them, where I include also Reddit, or I don't know, things where you share content that then disappears from front page, from in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
I also wanted to archive some of the content there, and this is why I do screenshots and I don't do embedded things.
Mm-hmm.
In the main, because, for example, even now there are people who migrated to Ruby Social, and they deleted or closed their account. So if you want to see the tweet, it's not there anymore. But they
Yeah.
share nice information or a nice piece of code, and of course it's their right to close it. I think everybody decides what to do. But for me was, can I have this knowledge that remains? Of
Yeah.
course, citing always the source. And I also wanted to make it as obvious as possible that I'm just a curator, and this is why I put a link to everybody that, okay, you want to follow the content creator. I'm just putting it here, but if you want more, you have multiple chances in this short will be to click if you want more and to follow or to read specific person, like specific people, what they say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's
and
mostly.
one of the things I like is it's kind of, your newsletter is kind of I almost think of it as like a tips and tricks list, right? Rather than a curated newsletter of news, it's more like here's this week's tips and tricks, right? And that's great
Yeah.
for me because, you know, I'm on Twitter, but Twitter has 1 or 2 users and it's hard to sift through all that stuff. And I just don't have time, but you're really good at that. And so I really appreciate the fact that you dig this stuff out. Also, I'm not on a lot of these other social platforms like Mastodon and some of the other ones because I just don't have time to figure out how to get on them. Took me forever. Twitter was hard enough for me, so I'm just that's my limit. But you know, I appreciate the fact that you are somebody who is good at sifting through that and pulling out the gems and then just giving me the tips and tricks list for the week. And I've pulled a lot of good stuff out of that. And I don't have to spend more than about 5 or 10 minutes to digest your entire newsletter, which is about my attention span. So that's good.
Yeah, it's So first, thank you very much. Second, thanks to the people that are actually, or not second, first, it's a big thank you to the people who are actually sharing this. It's amazing that as you also are doing the same, you here, not only with this but also with the other projects that you're putting, that there are a lot of people which are sharing very nice things online in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and second, this is a bit of, I'm always have this reply that this is called short Ruby and it's long, and maybe it's a bad name, but now I'm stuck with it. I like it in a way because the thing is not that the newsletter is short; it's that the bitten pieces of information are short. That was my initial intention, to have short bits, short information.
Yep.
Now, of course, it's the newsletter should be short, but I don't see it being short, very short. Of course, I don't want it to make much more longer. I'm usually counting not the length of it, but the number of images, which is around 30, maximum 40. That's where it is. 30, 40 images. It's where I try to stop. And of course, I just want to say this, that yeah, probably there are things that I'm missing, and probably there are maybe nice creators that I don't put there. I hope to discover them all, but I also like you're saying, I'm not staying every minute. I have a full-time job, but I have some scripts and some lists, and I try to from time to time to read them and to bookmark and then review them in the weekend. I'm trying to do as much as possible. That's the flow.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that, you know, as a behind the scenes kind of thing, you're just kind of bookmarking things as you see them during the week.
Yes.
When do you sit down to put the newsletter together, and about how long does that take you?
Yeah, so mostly it happens like this. In the weekend, like I said, I wake up almost every day around 5:30 maybe. So in the weekend, I have at least Sunday and Saturday 4 or 5 hours in the morning, like 2-3 hours Sunday, 2-3 hours Saturday. And then at least in one of these days, I spend also 2-3 hours in the afternoon. So I say about 6 to 8 hours, which I split like this. Of course, I don't want to put all of them in one day because I want to spend time with my family. And if sometimes we decide to go for a walk or in some other place, I wake up very early on Monday, maybe 3-4 a.m. or something like this, and try to make it very early. But I try to make it during the the weekend. That's the thing. Now I started to, I mean, I lowered it a bit as the process, but this did not reduce the time because how to say, I added more sources
Nah.
of content. So as I was getting good with one, I added Ruby Social and then Reddit, and now I'm trying to add some LinkedIn groups, and I already some things from YouTube are going in the social media, but I also noticed some things which are not shared that much, and I would like to add also that as a channel, or at least for the part of videos. But okay, let's see. And of course that is about the time, and I'm trying to automate as much as possible, but not everything is yet there. Automating meaning I'm trying to automate the output. So I want to bookmark them, and then I want to see somewhere a big list of everything that I bookmarked, that I can say, okay, this will be included, this will not be included, and generate the thing. Now, this works well for the Twitter source. I have a Rails app that I run locally where I import some stuff, and then I see in the local interface a preview of the tweets. I'm in the process to finish something like this for Mastodon to see also them there. And then I will have to play with the other social media and so on. But it's not final. The process still has some manual stuff about how to put everything there. Yeah.
So you're in the midst of automating, and I'm assuming it'll get better for you as time goes on.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about being a programmer. We can automate stuff and and still be lazy, right? We can get lots of work done and still be lazy, which is great. But more time for our families and stuff like that. But so let's say I'm kind of curious too. I've kind of watched this evolve since you started doing it, and how it's kind of expanded, because I remember like your first couple of editions were, just kind of a chronological list of here's some stuff I bookmarked on Twitter.
Yeah.
Boom. And it's kind of evolved from that. So I'm really curious. Let's say that you had all the time in the world, right? Do you have any pie in the sky plans for this newsletter? Are you thinking ahead on it? Or are you just like, here's where I am now, let's just get through today?
I have some dreams, let's call them. Yeah, I will very much like to, not sure if ever this will be, I will just say something that, but not sure. I will very much like to provide it as a, let's say, segment to one concept, to each, like to put all the sources, and then you compile in a way your own newsletter. Saying, okay, I want to see more, I don't know, let's say I want to see more Rails stuff, or I want to see more Ruby stuff, or I want to see more Active Record, or more PostgreSQL, or things like this. And then the curation being that it presents the format that you see, it compiles this and presents it or sends it to you. And then maybe you mark it, okay, this was good. Like you look at the newsletter and you say, okay, this is not something that I want, or I want less, and then next week we'll give you less of that. That is something that maybe with the scripts I can do something, or at least put it open source that you can install it yourself, or something like this. But so far the process, I mean, I see it as a two-step process. One is just to be able to generate the format automatically. So having, I don't know, kind of admin, which I'm trying to, I have something in place, but where I want to preview everything that I bookmark or like from everywhere that is related to Ruby, and then just mark there, hide, or keep, depends like what kind of list I want to, what kind of action I want to do, keep or delete. And then this is the part that let's say it's almost there. For some channels, I know what to build. For the others, it's just a matter of building to have this interface. Then the next one will be to make it generate screenshots. Now the screenshot part, which I like the screenshot part, or a part like screenshot for archiving. to have these things when they are not live, because social media is not a permanent thing. I see it less permanent than a book or even a blog.
Mhm.
So okay, here I'm mostly talking about text. Maybe video is not like that. I think YouTube it lives a lot longer, but probably, but
Yeah.
just about the text, the content. Then the second step, these are the only two steps that I know. I don't know. Will actually be to generate the images with proper attribution and hopefully some alt text, which I try to put sometimes, but sometimes I cannot add it or it takes too long, with some nice alt text, which now it's manually. I take a screenshot manually,
Mhm.
and then I cobble together some Apple script and Ruby script to open Snapper and select some profiles and cut the nice corners with some shadow and a specific format. Um, and then that goes into a folder, and then I drag and drop it in Substack. And then I generate the attribution or in the interface. The attribution, it's a copy paste where you see the source. Actually, I generated based on the tweet. I don't write it. I copy paste it.
Right.
So some of the things are from there, the attribution. But yeah, this second part, if I can make it automatic, and I had an issue last weekend because it's not a bug of Snapper, just to be very clear. I upgraded it, and of course, the way I was using Snapper, I was forcing it to do something that is not a tool for automation, right? I was forcing it to open a file because Snapper actually it gives you a shortcut to do the screenshot with Snapper, but I don't want that. And it did not work anymore. So I started making the round corners with image magic, and I think this will be my slowly way going into generating the images myself. Let's say.
Nice.
Yeah. I also exchanged a lot of some ideas Joel gave me from Plex.
Yep.
I'm using Plex. That maybe it's better to just redisplay the content of a tweet or Mastodon or whatever, and then use the browser or something to take the screenshot of that div.
Mhm.
So it's easier to make the screenshot nice with HTML and just have it there than to process images. So that is also an option that I look forward. So I
Cool.
know these two steps, but
Yeah.
I
Well, I
don't know
mean,
what I
I imagine that's gonna keep you busy for a little while, just getting to those two. That's
yeah,
that's
it's just to say this. It's also fun. I don't want to preach this, so don't do this in production code. But like I'm writing very loose, or I don't know, very fun Ruby code. I just make it work. Like I don't have a lot of time for the automation, so 10 minutes. What code do I write? Can I write to make this work? I do a model. I put some things there, whatever. Of course, this is not scalable, but it's very fun to, in a way, for me to be free of, not maybe free. I don't know how to say this. But to be free of, I don't know, Rubocop and standard and everything, and
an
you write
RSpec
something
and
which, of course, yeah, has some
yeah.
bugs. But just for this, if I said if I, this is also the reason why this is not public, not because I plan to do anything with it, but it just works for me.
Right. Well, yeah,
That's
and I
it.
get that. It's nice sometimes to take your hammer and your duct tape out and just whack some code together.
And this code has all new Ruby features. Like I used everything there. Like everything, pattern matching, endless methods, everything. It's there written. I was because like I read these tweets with new code, and then I need to do some automation, so I just use something that was shared.
Hey, I just saw this.
It's
I'll put it
something like
in
this.
there. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm trying it in this. Yeah. But of course, to make it usable by other people, I will need to rewrite it in a way. But I also it's in a way, people say usually about the prototype that you should create a prototype that you want to throw. This one for sure I will throw if I make it public. So this is free as it gets. Okay, for sure I will throw it out and then write something. But
Yeah.
okay, that's a long way. I'm planning. I'm just focusing on making the newsletter. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just curious. I mean, I think what you've got now is great. I love getting this newsletter. I look forward to it
Very much.
because I get a lot of value out of very little time, which is good for me because I have very little time. I always have so many different things going on, especially in my noggin. You know, it's good to just be able to have a 10-minute tips and tricks list and let me pull out of that what's going to be useful to me right now, and then I can archive the rest of it for later. So that's extreme. I mean, I do like reading other newsletters, right? But it's kind of like what I think about it. These other newsletters, if these are short stories, yours is more like reading a poem. And so it's nice and fast and concise, and, you know, the language is condensed.
About this, I tried a small sub-project that is called code summaries, which I did not have time too much now, but regarding this, where I try to take like if you go on the newsletter, there is on the menu there something called code summaries.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was trying to take an article that is technical about Ruby and just summarize it with code. Just put only the code there. And then, of course, with attribution and link to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also something that I need, that sometimes I want to see the code first and then read the article. I don't know. It's in a way weird, but I call it a hacker news syndrome, that I want first to see, like people say there, you enter to first read the comments and then the article. Here
Yep.
it's I want to see the code and because the code attracts me, and then I will read the article to understand it more. But it consumes a bit of time, so I did not publish that much. It's a project that I wanted to build around a bit.
Yeah.
So let's see.
So I'm interested too. I kind of want to hear, because I'm always interested in projects like this that go out into the social media, into a community, and I like to understand. So give me some of the community-wise, some of the lows and some of the really cool things that have happened to you because of this. Some of the challenges and then some of the things that you say, okay, yeah, I want to keep doing this because this is awesome.
So just starting with the low, I did not have too much lows, let's say. It's just I still have a comment on Reddit that I did not reply for someone who asked. I don't there are a bit two communities in a way, or I'm not saying two communities, but two views. And I'm trying to, how to say, to not judge. I put everything that is new, not judging, and it depends. Some people are sharing more new, more quick, not more. Sorry. Often they are sharing often something, and some other people less. So this is something that I want to keep an eye on, but it was not something low, but just someone said, okay, this new thing appeared. Why is this better than the other, or something like this? And I was like, no, I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just putting it there because I put what's new there. Like, this is a general, maybe I should write it in about, is it's not that I like everything that I put there, or as a coder or developer, I use everything that I put there, or I agree to put it everywhere. It's not an endorsement in the sense that everybody should use this, but it's something that, look at this, and then make your own opinion about it. But yeah, when people of course, we have also debates, and when people are debating, I'm trying to put opinions from all sides as much as possible without underline too much one of them. But yeah, this is already a hard task to do in a way.
Right.
So I hope I will do it better. That's the only my so I try to stay away for drama, but also I try to not ignore it.
Yeah.
Just okay, I it's there, I have to put something, but I yeah, without judgment.
Right.
So that's about the maybe the low. About the high, there are all kind of amazing things, people that I discovered, that I'm talking with people that are just, they just share the newsletter, among one. Drew, it's one of the people that shared it a lot of time without. I mean, we did not even talk in Twitter DM, and he was sharing a lot the newsletter. Um, and Ruby, like the other newsletter included actually links to my newsletter in their newsletter, like even in Ruby Weekly, which for me was okay. It's very nice, like to see this happening. I was always including all of them, or as much as possible, the ones that I know, not expecting something back because I just put it there. But yeah, the community, I found it amazing, and of course I learn a lot, and people are like telling me ideas about, okay, you can do this, you can do that. What about this? It's very nice to hear different ideas about what I can do, and some of them I'm trying to implement in various ways. And I don't want to name just a few because I'm afraid that I might forget someone because it's a lot every week for me.
Sure. Yeah.
So I thank all of them that ever liked or shared. But as a general thing, what I want to say is that before starting this newsletter, I was part of Ruby community because I was reading it and I was using Ruby. But I was looking at you, all the people that are doing. When I say you, I include you and all the people that here are watching and sharing content or contributing to Rails or to other, or creating gems or other frameworks and so on. And I was thinking, oh my God, these are like great people that I don't know how to talk with. You know, what can I ask, or how can I learn something being more close? And now I feel that we are more human, or I feel they were how to say, being close to me, and because they share this. I'm
Right.
not saying I'm close to them; they are still there, doing great things. You are still there, doing great things. But I feel that okay, I can ask something someone if I have an idea that I want to pitch or I want to talk about. And that for me it's an amazing feeling to feel the community more approachable. I'm not saying it was not. I'm just saying that myself, I'm trying to be a normal person, so I'm watching people who are doing stuff and I'm grateful for them, and I'm always was grateful. And yeah, that's
I
I
can
think the amazing thing.
Yeah, I can understand that a lot because for me, you know, when we started this show and started talking about, okay, let's get guests on, it was extraordinarily intimidating for me to go onto Twitter and PM somebody and say, hey, do you want to be a guest on the show? This person that's up there in the, you know, is some Ruby master that's, you know, like we should bow down and worship this person. And I'm like, I'm just some schlub and I'm going to ask them to come on my nothing show, really? But every time I did, people were like, yeah, I'd love to come on your show. Let's do it, you know? And it's one of the things that I really like about that, and you know, because we put ourselves out here and because you've put yourself out there with the Short Ruby newsletter, I think that's helping bring the community together. And like you said, it's not like I'm down here and the people that are putting stuff out there are just in a different world from me. No, we're all doing our thing, and I think it's helped build connections in the community. Like I never would have met you, you know, if I hadn't gotten onto Twitter and been doing this show and said, hey, he's interesting and he's doing this cool thing. I want to talk to him. So, you know, I think it's good for the community to have, you know, we started this show and I was asking you, hey, there's lots of newsletters out there. Why did you want to start another one? I think that's a very good reason to start another one, is that, hey, there's more connections out in the community to be had. Let's just put ourselves out there and do this thing. And that's one of the things I like to encourage in people is just do it. Yeah, it's a little intimidating at first, but what you're going to find out is people are cool most of the time. You know?
Yeah, they are cool. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, we're running up on time here. Darn it. I've really enjoyed talking to you. This was a real treat for me because I've been following this newsletter for a while and I really, really love it. So I'm glad I got a chance to kind of talk to you about the behind the scenes and see what's happening. I kind of dominated our side of things. So what I'm going to do is make Creston do the outro, so he gets to talk at least a little bit during the show. But thank you very much for being with us. And folks out there, please go to newsletter.shortruby.com and sign up for that newsletter. You will not be sorry. I can't imagine you're watching the show and you haven't signed up yet, but if you haven't, please go do it.
Thank you.
All right, so you're serious about wanting me to do the outro?
Yeah, you do. I mean, you know, I won't shut up. So here's your chance to talk, my dude.
All right. Well, thank you for everyone for joining us this afternoon. And we will be putting the show notes on our website, rubberduckdevshow.com. There you can watch replays of the YouTube on YouTube. You can also listen to a replay through our podcast, or you can get our podcast on all the podcasting providers. And we have thank
Puppers.
you to my dog Hazel. And we will actually, you go ahead and follow out. I'm going to mute.
Well, I mean, she wants to help with the outro. She was excited. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please consider a like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or a follow if you're watching on Twitter. Those things are free. They make us feel all warm and fuzzy, and we like it when you do that. Do catch us next week when we will have Amir Rajan from Dragon Ruby is coming to talk to us about Ruby game dev. So that'll be a really fun one. That'll be next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be back on the Coding with Chris, and we're going to be hacking away at some more game dev. So that'll be fun. Make sure and come join us then. As always, we hope that you guys enjoy that. We hope you have a wonderful week. We hope to see you on Twitter and all the other places that we are. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, rubberduckdevshow@gmail.com and rubberduckdevshow.com. You can find, talk to us at all those places. We also have a Discord. It is pinned on our Twitter account, so you can get the link from there and join our Discord. We talk in there all the time too, and sometimes I'll go in there and hang out in the audio channels and just chat with people. You're always welcome to join if I'm in there. So until next week, happy coding.
Happy coding.
Thank you.